Fresh view. How's the volume? Volume is perfect. Then let's go, my friend. I have not looked at anything about Pillars of Eternity. I backed it. That's it. I mean, I knew what the game was about. And that's it. I knew what kind of game I was getting. I have avoided all spoilers, all reviews, all gameplay. I'm hyped to make that first character. Let's see. Oh, here's easy. New game set, or the actual like difficulty. No, I'm good with normal. I'm not looking to replay scenes over and over again here. Path of the Damned. All right. I'll try. I might play with this stuff later on my own, or maybe just record it and put it up on the stream on my YouTube. Ooh, that's good. That's good. And since I just started this wholly, I don't even know what my camera image is covering, and I don't know what your chat window is going to be covering. So I might end up having to move this stuff around.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
You got a replay button there in case your wife started talking in the middle of that. Awesome. Place of men in society varies from culture to culture, and we do have a culture option up there. Cultures like iron deer, the dry dire wood. Placing at the forefront of the military, politics, and heavy labor among the tribes of Nastique. Men perform many of the homesteading and organizational duties in Ergalathith and Ixamatil. And action RPG? No, this is actually more not really turn-based. I think they try to keep the time actually going. It's more Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age Origins, along those lines. Planescape Torment was another big one. Actually, some of the people on this team were the people who made Planescape Torment. Alright. I'm going to go with male for now. Okay. Alright, I see. Humans, commonly called Volk. Most common race in Direwood. Oh, look, I can hover over it. I noticed that it was a different color. Resolve 1 and Might 1 for being human. And then these guys are taller. Largest of the Kith races. They're not truly aquatic. They have an affinity for water. Dwarf. Man, he looks hobbity. He is so tiny. Oh, I didn't look at the other guy's stats. I forgot to do that. So might +2, dexterity -1, constitution +1. Auman is just might +2. Elf, which I do tend to play sometimes. Dominant race in Ergalath. Forest southeast of the Bale River. Populated by a group of Galafathons. Governed by a cover 6. Ruined. Engwithon sites. Yeah, I agree. I expected them to be bigger as well. He really looked like hobbit size to me. The ruins have been the center of a number of large-scale conflicts with drier wooden colonists. Settlements often encroach. See, it's stories like that that fantasy writers, for some reason, tend to put elves in that make me want to pick them. You know, the woodland people who are being approached upon, because that kind of fits a little bit of my own real-life preferences. Speed and intelligence, as well as a commonly isolationist nature. Dexterity, perception. So, here's an interesting thing, Holy. The way they designed this game, just like class and power design, is that so that you wouldn't have to like plan out a character and make particular choices in order for it to be good. If I pick intelligence affects the range of an effect. If you're playing some kind of mage, then maybe that's the range of your attack spell. If you're playing some kind of barbarian, then that's the range that you can affect someone with your fear-inducing cry. If your might stat affects the strength of the effect of things. If you're throwing a fireball, then it gets its damage from might. If you're hitting someone with an axe, then it gets its damage from might. So you don't have to plan out certain characters and fit certain stereotypes in order to make something play out well. They wanted every decision, maybe you want to use that in feature, go back and pay to rebuild your character from the start. But it's because it'll be what you want, not because, oh, I built myself into something that doesn't work. So like I can look at this elf, and because I was just thinking, well, maybe I ought to know what kind of class I want to play. Oh no, that's right. I don't have to worry about that at this point. I don't have to. So elves, dexterity 1, perception 1. Orlin. Oh, what is this? Smallest of the Kith races, though many don't consider them to be civilized at all. Known for their mental intensity and sharp senses. Resolve 1, might -1, perception +2. Ooh, what? Oh, wait. Godlike? What is this? Okay, so Kith just means civilized races. Ooh. That's different. That's different, but it makes me feel a little too like, oh, I want to choose to be the chosen one. So I don't think I'm going to do those. Though I bet you if you do, I bet you get a whole lot of really interesting conversation responses. But it is probably going to be a little bit too heavily handed one way or the other. Either people like you or they don't like you. You know, the one that intrigues me the most is this Orlan. Yeah. Picking an aquatic race too, though that's kind of different, but these guys are just like I'm not likely to play something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the dwarfs look so. My first character in Dragon Age Origins was a dwarf. Yeah, and perception is so important, and I like the resolve. This is a completely different race. I'm gonna go with Orlan. Next. Oh. Hearth Orlans are often found as slaves. One of the treaty terms between Direwood and the people of Glanfath was the liberation of Orlan slaves, and while this has been honored, many Hearth Orlans continue to live in Direwood as indentured servants. Minor threat. When attacking any target that is being targeted by a teammate, Hearth Orlans convert some of their hits. A hit is any attack roll between 51 and 100 into crits. Any attack roll that is above 100. So I crit. If I picked Hearth, I would crit just because I'm tag teaming with somebody. Yeah. Ooh, look at that dude. Defiant resolved. After being subjected to a will attack, Wild Orlans temporarily gain a bonus to all defenses. Which they already have a bonus to their will? No, it's the resolve. It is defined by a character's class, level, intellect, and resolve. Well, I love the looks of these guys. I don't know whether I want to... Wasn't really looking to play the slave either. I'm gonna pick the wild one. Wild one. Class. Okay. Alright, I think we know what a fighter is for the most part. The common element unifies fighters with heavy defense on endurance and melee defense. Fighters continually regenerate endurance at a modest rate during combat. They start off with athletics, lore, and survival. They have average endurance, high health. Yeah, class is one of the hardest things, isn't it? Very high accuracy, very high deflection. Now, because damage comes from might, I'm really kind of tempted to play something magey. Because I would guess that you're not actually going to be restricted in the, so horribly restricted as far as weapons go. Deflection. Used it to resist direct melee and ranged attacks that are not area of effect. Okay. Very high action. So let's see. Let's jump around. Chanter. Look at that axe. In every culture, there are chanters, the most ancient workers of magic, compelling them to generate magical effects in a kind of reenactment. So, organized groups of storytellers and researchers, but in most parts of the world, they're just time-honored part of local folk tradition. Continuously speak chants made up of magical phrases. Phrases produce passive effects and help build a chanter's power until they can use an invocation. And invocations, okay, all right. They have average accuracy, high deflection, very low endurance, and low health. Mechanics 1 and Lore 2. Ciphers were once called mind hunters. Directly contact and manipulate another person's soul and psyche using an ally's or enemy's essence as a focus for their own magic. They're gaining acceptance over time, but are generally distrusted, especially by the uneducated. Ciphers can directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus, which Cipher builds through the use of their soul whip. Very low endurance again, low health, average accuracy, average deflection, stealth, lore, and mechanics. So what's mechanics? Traps and locks. Okay. Very low endurance again, high health, very high accuracy, average deflection. Alright, I think there's going to be too much information here that's going to affect me that I want to get into that. So let's take a look at the druids. Animists at heart, as you'd expect. Vancian magic. Ugh. Kind of liking the cipher. Yeah, I'm thinking I like the cipher. Yeah, we're gonna do cipher. Ciphers can directly target allies and enemies with, the soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus. And what I get to do here is select a number of spells remaining to Antipathetic field. Creates a toxic physical manifestation of the mutual antipathy between the cipher and the enemy target. Enemies caught in the path between the two will suffer corrosive damage. Interesting. Caught in between. That's interesting. Eye strike. Dazing and blinding them as long as nearby targets. Interesting. Mind wave. Raw damage. So the 8 types of damage type are slash, pierce, crush, burn, shock, corrode, freeze, and raw. Okay. And then the ones behind have to make a check or fall prone. Cool. Well, that was Mind Wave right there. So here's Soul Shock. Oh, it thinks I'm selecting them. Whatever. Transforms the outer shell of an allied soul's target into energy, releasing an electrical burst around them. Characters standing in the area around take shock damage. Tenuous grasp. Assails the target's grasp on reality, frightening and confusing them. Okay. Whisper of treason. So these are all offensive so far. Parts of bedeviling. That's not how I pronounce that word. Secret to an enemy that causes its allegiance to bend, charming them for the duration. Okay, so these are all going to be offensive. I like this field. And let's get the Mind Wave as well. And there's the Soul Whip. I just ended up deciding, Holy, I picked Cipher. So this is the one, they're like kind of the psychic guys. And they're only now getting somewhat accepted across, they're not completely accepted across all cultures. Mostly due to a lack of education. And so now it looks like I'm selecting stats. Points left. I don't know if I'm dealing with a 3d6 kind of stat base or what. 10 plus 2 for Orlan. 10, 10, 10 minus 1 for Orlan. Okay. Minus 3 damage and healing. Minus 2 fortitude. Which is a resolved or a secondary stat. Yeah, exactly. So its abilities, like, here's this one right here, this antipathic field. So I target an enemy, and it draws a line between me and that enemy, and enemies that get hit by the line take corrosive damage. It doesn't actually do anything to him. It deals damage in between us. It's like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay. With 6 stats and 15, I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 more to everything. Might's important, and it was already down 1, so I'm giving it another 1. The intellect is the highest. It says this is the highly recommended for Cipher, and these 2 are recommended. And there's 8. So if I gave 3 here, and 2 to each of these, I have a pretty even character so far. So I will do 1 more on intellect. And let's pull one out of... I got a really good head start with perception. Yeah. Nope, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. Let's go. I'm not gonna take forever on this. Culture. All right. The Adir Empire, largest, most powerful force, centered around the equator, tropical climate. We have colonies. That's a majority of human and elven nations, and this gives me one more stat. Interesting. Deadfire Archipelago. Wait, is this changing my... Oh, it's changing my weapons and clothing? Interesting. Lawless pirate-infested islands. Boreal dwarves. Aumaua. And a mix other. Last stop for anyone headed east. Increases my dexterity. Ixmitil Plains. Largest stamps of fertile savannas. Extensively farmed by human and Orlan residents. And Orlan's me. Orlan's me. One of the oldest in the world, though the least imperialistic. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas is now crumbled remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations. Rautai. The Gulf itself is host to a number of nations. Countries are relatively young, and some of them are the most advanced colonial settlements in the east. The Gulf is a land of riches and resources. Constitution +1, lots of violent storms. I kind of like the violent storms idea. Living lands. Mountainous region of a large northern island renowned for its diversity of plant and animal life. Weather is unpredictable. Ecosystems vary dramatically. An assortment of races and a variety of colonial and independent settlements. And finally, the white that wends. Large, cracked, southern expanse of polar ice. Meh. The pictures I have in this guy is like him coming out of a jungle area. So I think actually this Adir, this top one, is going to be the pick. So where are all those other Orlans? And the Ixmitil Plains. No, I think Adir. Adir. Further background. Aristocrat. Nope. Nope. Dissident as a troublemaker. Hunter. Merc. Clergyman? I think I would have picked a priest or a paladin if I wanted to do that. Colonist. Drifter. I think they said something about about the wild Orlans not really wanting to work in groups. So I think Drifter kind of fits that. It also kind of fits how you'd end up finding yourself in the big plot that you will, whatever the big plot is. Laborer. Merchant, no. Slave, no. So I'm thinking Drifter. Potentially Dissident. Or Merc. What do you think? Mercenary does athletics and lore +1 each. Dissident does lore and stealth +1 each. And Drifter also does stealth +1, and then also mechanics, which is the lockpicking and stuff like that. Alright, Drifter it is. Appearance. Do we have random? We do. Oh, we don't have random, but we do have a bunch of pre-mades. Oh, those are just the portraits. Okay, well, let me find a portrait. Both to be lore correct, and my first Diablo character ever was named Drifter. Well, there you go. Gosh, what was mine? That was forever ago. That was forever ago. Whoa! Oh, those aren't. I was like, those aren't Drifter portraits. Oh wow, there's only a few Drifter portraits. There's this one, this one. There's two. There's two Drifter portraits apparently. Or sorry, not Drifter, but Orlin. Oh no, here's some more. Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 to a fault. Yeah, Diablo 2, I think I had 17 characters not counting mules. I see, so the latter half of these are... Whoa! Check out that one! That is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I think I had like 17 different non-mule characters. I loved Diablo 2. That one was so much fun. Alright, that's the skin. So this one's going to be a bit brighter. Oh! I never did any of that. Now, what did you think about Diablo 3, though? I really did not like Diablo 3. Didn't like it at all.
Yeah?
Now I am the leader of the group. Yeah!
Keeping quiet.
Huh? I'll lead the way. Easy now.
Oh?
I shall lead us.
Show him how it's done!
Keeping an eye out.
I'm here. Follow me.
Let's go.
I'm thinking Stoic. You only played D3 because you're playing with friends from D2. Didn't enjoy it much. No. Are you aware that it was not the same development team? The same development team that made Diablo 2 broke away or were fired or released or whatever, and they were the ones who made Torchlight. Torchlight 2 to me is the true third Diablo. Oh crap. Name. Ugh. Shonite, in honor of you, Holy Samsonite, for being here, going through this with me. Not the most exciting part of the game, probably. I haven't played Path of Exile yet. Though I would like to try it out. And Grim Dawn looks somewhat interesting, but Torchlight 2, especially Torchlight 2, I played Torchlight 1 demo on Xbox for a day or two and immediately deleted it. And my wife was like, so you didn't like it? And I was like, no, I really liked it. But if I'm going to have a life, I can't get this. So but I did end up buying Torchlight 2. And I think I've got like 6 different characters. I haven't finished the game with one of them. So let's stop talking about that game when we've got this amazing thing. Boom.